This is Justin Amazon on Tuesday, January 22nd, 2019. Hope you all enjoyed the holiday yesterday. Uh, it was kind of funny because there was a couple days where it's like, oh, the market's not open, 3 days in a row for a long weekend. Like, wait, did I do a video Friday? I did. And today things played out in a way very similar to what I was anticipating on Friday's video. So you get an opportunity to go back and watch that one again in the last couple minutes. Um, just kind of spelling out what I thought would happen today. And we got a gap coming out of the weekend. It was gap down, so bearish retest gap. Really, really nice triangle consolidation right here. Didn't quite get a squeeze, just the momentum kind of petering off here. But then the kind of the apex of this is around 1683 maybe. Clearly below Friday, and then kind of just a little bit below most of the day from Thursday. What's significant about that is, how well we ran into this pivot, this resistance here. I mean, just people were just taking profit. Anybody who bought from Thursday or Friday today, I mean, it's really not going your direction. So get out, or your stop is already hit if you got in Friday and it's getting hit at open. Expecting it to open right here, obviously. So this consolidation here, then right before, the last 5 minutes before the open, get a little bit more of a pullback. Kind of looks, looking at this a little bigger, looks like a bigger kind of double top, with this being kind of the neckline here. Or if you kind of include some of this stuff, maybe like a shoulder here, or shoulder here and a head and then no other shoulder, which is another kind of pattern that I like seeing, where there's just a flat right shoulder. So I guess that could just be kind of like on an angle. I don't know. Either way, bearish retest gap, look to go bearish. I glanced at this at some point this morning and thought, this thing's set up to just short the open, just go bearish at the open. And I didn't. But that would have been a really nice entry right there. The open and the high were 3 cents apart from each other. 3 cents. So a couple bulls were getting in, and they got hammered immediately. So very clearly takes out this triangle. Let's see if we get a retest. We're getting closer to our 1665. Let's see if that's going to be a good level. Get a nice bounce, nice inside candle. The high comes back up just slightly lower. So the high here was 87 and the high here is 60. And so very, very close, to coming back up, kind of the opposite of a tweezer top. But a great opportunity right here to get in bearish, this being a retest. I mean, within, 10 minutes of the market open, you got a great retest back into this triangle. I mean, even right here, set your entry, maybe up here, 1680, and set your stop up at like 1687, maybe something like that, or go tighter on, on the options. But anyway, the very next candle sells back off, kind of sandwiching that bullish candle between two bearish candles, very similar lower wicks. And then we're kind of off to the races and come right down into 1665. Now, this has been a great level. Here we are forming a hammer, really strong hammer right here, just really low volume. I mean, compared to the open 5 minutes, we've got similar volume to, all of 4 of these 5-minute candles here. And we start to actually bounce a little bit, but come right back in, and we're breaking down already. It's like, okay, if you didn't know already this is going to be a sell-off kind of day, now you know it's taken out this low. We're below 1665. Let's look for any sort of move back up into 1665, just like we had a really nice move here, and go bearish on that and look for that to continue lower. Massive bearish momentum. We've got still like almost equal volume across these candles here, slightly lower here. And it just, I mean, you don't normally see the volume just stay so steady here. This one even kind of tapered and then came back up. This has just been massively steady on volume. Get a small inside candle, lower volume. Okay, there's your retest back into 1665. This is the candle to go bearish on. Go bearish here, stop up here, something like that. that would have still held, kind of double tops there on the 5 minute. This is just going side. I mean, look at all this opportunity you have to get in bearish. Even if you weren't so quick to get in on this candle, you still had the next half an hour to do it, to get in bearish, or been waiting, you know. So starts to roll down a little bit. Here we go. Another move back up into 1665. This one puts in a high 1664.98. So the line we've got in here is the 1665.27. That's close enough, you know. That's only, you know, 29 cents away from that line. I'd go bearish there as well. So if you didn't get bearish here, get bearish here. You're right into the 21 exponential. The 21 exponential is right at 1665. Oh, I moved off it. 1665.26, and as I just said, our line is 1665.27, a penny off. That's a great place to see some resistance here. So getting in bearish on this candle, and a stop up here, or stop up here a little more conservative, you know. We do actually have the squeeze starting to form here. And what happens? It reverses and breaks down, new low of the day. Still could have been getting in bearish on this candle. Maybe waiting for a retest back up to 1658, something like that in here. You know, do we get it? Nope, not this time. We're going to move up. Let's see. This candle, 1655 here. Doesn't quite get back up to this low. The squeeze is still working. Oh, there we go. 1657.83. And look at that evening star reversal right there at, you know, basically at 1658. You know, you're getting back into the low here and the low here, ignoring this wick. Look at that. Right back into those prices, you know, with a retest. So you had a retest here. You had a retest here, a retest here, a retest here. This thing's going bearish. I mean, it's retested so many times. You got the momentum going bearish. You got more consolidation coming in here. You know, this looks like a great, you know, very large, and probably not as large on the 15-minute. Really nice flag. This is a very, very small evening star reversal with some really small candles, and there it goes. And now it's like, what's our next line? I mean, if you, as it's you know, rolling over from 1665, it's like the next line we've got, I know, is 1617, and below that 1607. So it's like, okay, where could we actually get to today? And this is one that I would just be holding on to the next line, because I'm expecting a pullback, and you just got to wait these out, and it just keeps going. And here we go. This candle comes right into 1617, 54. And then we even push a little bit past that. And I thought we were going to get to 1607, but it actually reverses right here. Finally, right? After all day of just dropping. I mean, at any point, had you bought, had you know, gone bearish or bought puts on the retest, you'd be up. You know, retest here worked, retest here worked, retest here worked, retest here worked. Every retest worked, you know, just didn't necessarily come back up into the level, the low that we're at. It did here, come back into this one, did here, come back into this one. Didn't quite get there on, let's see, where's the high? 1671.39, and this was 1672. 1672. Okay, so didn't quite get there on this one, and then got there on this one. Every retest, you know, where you had a little bit of bullish move, at least, you know, it worked. Everything bearish just would have worked, you know. And then we're way down here, we're reversing, get a really nice retest of a Morningstar reversal on this candle, massive candle, you know, over $10 range candle. And this is at, why isn't it showing the time? 2:35. So not much time left in the day, but still from here, buying at 1617, 54 would have ended up on the day. And so there's some opportunities to go in bullish here. Not really any clear indication to do it any other time for a bullish move. We switch back over to, actually, let me zoom in on this. We'll take a look at that. And the options, bearish retest. Here we are on the daily. We pulled back into the downtrend channel, upper line, come right into the 21 exponential, which is what I was talking about it doing. I just thought it was going to take a couple of days. I did not expect it to do it in the very single day. Um, but what's also really amazing with this is uh, we took out, with these candles here, we took out the highs here. Remember how that looked similar to this? We took out these highs here, and the next couple of days we sold back down into this downtrend channel that we hadn't drawn in yet, but once we got above, it came right back down into it within 3 days. Once it made this high, that made a high here, and then one day it's come back down. So this is still moving more aggressively than we had some of these gentle rollovers here, and some I was going to say insecurity, but just not knowing where exactly it was going to go, that we were going to have this massive move of a pullback right here. We've got a bearish retest gap. We're right back into the range of this indecision candle up here. Not sure if we're going to roll over. We had all these bullish candles in a row here. We had a huge bullish move up here. Having a little more rest is totally fine. And we've sold off from this area before. We did it here, up here, here. Yeah, there's a number of candles you can look back and like, yeah, this range just kind of likes to sell off when it's up here. So not to say that's why it sold off, just there was there were bulls that should not have been going bullish up here. That's all it was. Had enough of a run, needed to do some resting. If you're scaling in over time, sure, that's a good place to buy because it should go higher eventually. But right now, it looks like it's got a little more pullback. This is our decision point. Are we going to hold this level, or are we going to pull back down some more into this range and have a retest that comes down maybe to 1500, somewhere in here, nice middle, middle of the range last time we were in here, but would show that we're not going to sell off as hard as we had before. Could we move that far down and then do something crazy like a huge gap up for earnings? Totally possible. Could we chop around in here and just go sideways and look like we're going to bounce and then gap down for earnings and sell off, or have some bearish candles and then gap above here and just be off to the race? Any of these things are possible for earnings right on the corner. I think it's Thursday of next week. So here we are, Tuesday, and we've got a great location for this to, potentially bounce. Again, it's a 21 exponential. It's the top of this downtrend channel. It could bounce. This would be a great place for it to do it. But someone anticipated too. This is also the point where we've lost a little bit of that bullish momentum. When we had done that before here, we actually had a little bit more of a bearish move, to go still. Let's see. This one, yeah, we had a little more, couple bearish candles on sideways. This one, a couple more bearish candles. This one, that wasn't a bearish candle. This one, that was a bearish candle. Oh, then we had a bullish gap and go, and then ended up fading and selling off a few more candles. So I guess just what that's saying what that's suggesting is we could have a little more of bearishness come in. Come down a little bit further, start to form a double top here, maybe retest the neckline, which would also be in the next couple of days, would be right here in this channel, and then see if that's going to play out as a double top with a neckline retracement that does sell off, and do something like that in the next couple of days and here before earnings. So let's take a look at the the puts. We were opening, like I said, the high and the open were 3 cents apart on this candle. So you could have gotten in there, or you could have gotten in on the retest on the second 5-minute candle. The calls didn't do anything until late in the day. This is the 1700 call expiring Friday. As it was starting to bounce there and then bounced again on this candle off of the 16-17 price, it put in a low of 4. It's possible to have set up 4 by 3 anywhere in here. That still would have been, somewhat of a risky, mitigated risk trade, but a risky setup because it'd been selling off all day. Why should it bounce at 16-17? Well, it did. so could have been buying 4 by 3 and exiting right at 6, possibly at the close. So probably wouldn't have gotten filled at 6, probably would have gotten a little less than 2R had you traded that and held into the close. But should have been able to scalp $1 off of that, get up to 5 and get out. I'm not sure what this candle is because I don't think it had that kind of move. Yeah, I don't know why that candle is like that. Right at 2 o'clock. What did it do there? Right here on the calls? That doesn't make sense that it spiked way up here. So I don't know what that is. Just some outlier in the data. 840 options were traded in that 5 minutes. So I don't know what this is actually showing here. Anyway, going over to the puts now. This is the 1650 puts, the low at the open. The open and the low price, 10.10. Not quite under 10. I love seeing this at 10. Had I been watching this to trade it right out the gate, probably would have been looking to set up a trade at 10 because it looked like it would open right there, but probably would not have filled because it moved so quickly. The next 5-minute candle didn't pull back to 10. It actually only pulled back to 12. So that would have been a little harder to do 12 by 10. Maybe wouldn't even been filled on that. Probably would not have done like 12 by 11 or 1250 by 1150. Just, probably would have gone to the next option, going down, not the next one, but the next one I like to trade, 1625, and see what that was doing. Now, what's really interesting here is the 1650 is that we just got really steady in here. We didn't sell off at all. And there were some opportunities to get in on some smaller range candles in here as they broke out. Some of this is the retest. So the highs here became the value here that you're retesting. So getting in either of these candles, this one's range was 50 cents, but this dollar amount is just a little bit higher that I don't like to trade. So I probably would have gone down to 1625 anyway, just because you can kind of get a little more bang for your buck, and it can move up some more without risking as much capital overall. That didn't select. There we go. Remove that. Okay, a little less volume. You kind of see you had some flat candles. That just means there was one. Yeah, look at volume. There's only one. There's 10. There's 1. There's 1, 3, 1, 3, 1. For the volume. So anyway, but the price that it opened was much better. So it actually had a slightly lower wick in here. You could have been doing right at the open, 6 by 5. You could have waited for this candle to pull back and put in a low of 650, looking for 650 by 550, something like that. That still would have worked, holding this low here of 575. So that would have been a better setup for a $100 risk. And then it stayed above that the whole day. It was pretty much flat through here, just like the 1625 option. The high we had in here was 1240, and we came down to 1285, 1288. But there was 3 candles in a row here, or 3 lines in a row here, showing that 13 by 12 would have worked, or we were kind of retesting this level. And any of those, had you just bought at the open, at a retest, anything, and just held into the next line, 16, 17, you probably would have been able to flip that out. So had you got in at 13, you probably could have held to 30. So 13 to 30, that's 17R. Probably could have gotten in here for, like 20, maybe 20 something, 21 by 20 here, something like that. 2050 by 1950, something in there, 20 to 30, that's 10R. If we go out another one to 1600, similar again, that we just had some phenomenal moves. There we go. Let me take this out. Okay. So buying the open again, 3 by 2. And here, 4 by 3. This would have worked. This one sideways could have been buying 6 by 5. The highs in here were up about 8. High was 8 by 7. Yeah. So you retested those highs, got an 8 by 7. This would have probably made some people nervous that it came down to 720. Possibly could have stopped somebody out and then continued on up. But had you just, set up a bracket on these candles, should have been filled. And then this would have been, getting it at 8, went to 20, So that's 12R. On the 1600 puts, that even at this time, so this is right before noon. Right before noon, we were up here. We were at 1656, 1653, and the 1600 put would have made you 10R or more, getting in up here on a retest of the lows. So any opportunity, and even if you just held this run, it's selling off. It's got 6 candles. You're in on this one or this one. It goes 6, 7 candles more bearish. Oops. And so you're in, here 8, and it moves up to 14, even 13, 12. You're getting out at 12. Okay, it's made a new high. It just did that here. It went from 8 to 10. So let's look for this to go. Or I'm sorry, 6 to 10. It went up by 4. So here we go, 8 to 12. That's my plan. That's 4R. That's 4R in 25 minutes. I take that too. The $12 price, we came back into that. We're just bumping right off of that the whole time. The whole time this was flat right through here. We were just making these really small candles. This is a stair-step pattern. Just completely sideways, low volume, couldn't get anything going bullish, couldn't even get it to the 21. And then you get this candle coming in to sell off. Get in bearish on this and just risk that $100 R and do it with puts. So you're in, let's see here. You're in 1250. Yeah, you're in 1250 by 1150, or maybe 12. Did 12 work at all? 1206. 12 worked here, maybe. So probably 1250 by 1150. Or if you're still nervous about what the move could be against you, then go out a little further. And here's that same range, and you're in 8 by 7 on the 1575 puts. So now where were we? We're at 1640. And so you're $65 out of the money, all the way down at 1575. And that still would have gotten you from 8 to 13, 5R. Even if you just held on a little bit of a move, 8 up to 11 or 12, 3 or 4R. Any of these puts worked. It just worked today. And it's really a bummer. I didn't trade at all. I glanced at it. I saw the chart right here. I remember seeing right here. I remember seeing this candle, or I saw the next candle after this. I was just glancing at it. I'm like, oh yeah, the market's open today. I was very busy today and tied up with some other things. I didn't trade, but I saw it like right here. I'm like, oh yeah, short that. It just totally rejected 1665. Let's see, was it this one? No, this candle. I think I saw this candle. So maybe it wasn't that. Maybe it was like this. I wasn't looking at like that. I had like this on my chart. I was on my phone. And so I think I saw something like, I think I saw this or this. It's like, oh, that candle. Yeah, that's a really nice inverted hammer. It's bullish, and it's just failing the 1665. Yeah, go bearish right here. I don't even think I had the squeeze on my phone, so didn't even see the squeeze was there. Man, it's nice to have charts up in front of you all day, and I don't. So if I'd gotten bearish right here as this sits, I could have gotten in. There's the calls, not the calls. What time was that? let's go look at the 1625. And let's come back here. Okay, now what time was that? This was at 10:30, right at 10:30. 10:30, sometimes a good reversal time of day. So at 10:30, right here. So it got up to 14, 1625. Yeah, that was a bad place to get in because it pulled back a little bit more. So that was tough, actually. I probably, had I gotten into the 1625 puts right here, like 14 by 13, I would have been stopped out. Well, that's a bummer. I guess I'm glad I didn't do that. I don't like getting in for 13 though, so I probably would have gone out a little further to 1600 and thought, oh, am I too far away? Not realizing what it was going to have the potential to do. But here, 1030, the 1600 could have been getting in for 7 by 6 or 650 by 550, and then that ran up to 10, and then I probably would have not even watching because I was so busy, and I didn't see it till later. Yeah, it would have been way up here. So I probably would have done 1600 because it's easier to do $100 risk. Getting in bearish here, and probably would have just been holding it, looking for 1617, or trailing it after seeing this would have moved up my stop to like 7 to lock in something once it was like up here. And then if I checked it again, probably would have moved up to like 10, thinking I got in at 650, maybe 10. I probably would have done 1050, lock in 4R if it pulls back a little further. But knowing I'm up that much, I probably would not have done any sort of add to the position. And then would have been checking a little more often as this happened, as it was dropping through the 1620s and then came into 1610 or 1617 and then 1610 here. And I probably would have been getting out around 1617, probably for, let's just call it 20 to be conservative. So had I traded, would have been looking for like 650, probably to 2050. Would have been a 14R trade. And I would have been good with that. That would have been really amazing to have that happen and hardly have watched it. But just because that's where the levels are at, you know? So, I mean, it went from this line to this line, and you could have gotten in here and gotten out here, probably this candle. So that's the 155 candle. 155. So if I was getting out of that candle, I probably would have actually done, 650 by 1850 or 1950. So I probably would have gotten 12 or 13R. I wouldn't have gotten up to 2050 unless I was slow at setting up my order. But I usually like to get those in, if I'm moving a target to align with a level, I try and get those in pretty quick because it can bounce. Had it bounced here and I missed exiting and then it was up here, I would be like, man, do I really feel like holding back down as it rolls back down? Is it going to? We didn't get this retest to here and a rollover. We got a retest to that level here. We just didn't get the total rollover. So I was saying earlier, every bearish, every time we got some bullishness, we had a bearish rollover, and you could have been getting in on any of these retests. The only one that didn't work was this. So once you actually formed your reversal at this line, so that's why I'm kind of discounting. This one is after we've hit another line, another level we've been tracking. It's not good to necessarily go bearish here once it shows you a good bounce, especially this candle with a bullish engulfing of a bearish candle. And you got some sort of clear support here. Would not have been going bearish here, or shouldn't have if anybody was thinking about it. So I already talked about what I expect the next couple of days. This is the sell we had today. Look at these steps, man. It's just like a step here, and then kind of consolidation, and then a step, and a big step, and a big step. Amazing kind of day. If you're looking at calls at all, here's the 1700 calls. I mean, they didn't even move up by $2. I guess technically from 10 up to 12 it did. and until the end of the day, went from 4 to 6. So, I mean, any sort of bullish move, you're getting stopped out pretty quick, and that's good. If you were taking a bullish, which it wasn't a good day to do that. So, see you tomorrow, Holds. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.